Set to launch a worldwide tour, international pop superstar Skye Riley starts facing increasingly frightening and unexplainable occurrences. Burdened by the intensifying terrors and the strains of celebrity, Skye must confront her history. Get ready to relive the adventure as we recap the story of horror and mystery film today. Smile 2, production year 2024. The movie begins 6 days following the previous film, with Joel having endured a week of torment from the Smile entity after seeing Rose take her own life. He discovers the residence of certain drug dealers and confronts one with a firearm. Joel brings the dealer into the house in front of the man's brother before he begins stabbing the dealer fiercely to lift the curse. The brother fires at Joel, resulting in a gunfire exchange in which the other man is mortally wounded by Joel. As the witness destined to receive the curse was meant to survive, Joel begins to panic. This is observed by another vendor. Other companions of the brothers arrive and pursue Joel. He dashes into the road and is hit by a vehicle, and his bloodied corpse pulled along the asphalt looks like a grin. We meet pop sensation Skye Riley as she attends an interview with Drew Barrymore. Although Skye's career has been very prosperous, she has a background of drug and alcohol addiction and is still mentally healing from a car crash that resulted in the death of her boyfriend, actor Paul Hudson. Skye is overseen by her mother Elizabeth and has been distanced from her best friend Gemma since the event. Skye is anticipating that her forthcoming tour will give her a much-needed revival. Following a discussion with her manager Darius and his assistant Joshua, Skye receives a text from Lewis. She secretly visits him to obtain Vicodin for her back pain. As Skye enters his apartment, Lewis seizes her and presses a sword against her throat. He panics and claims he doesn't recall messaging Skye, while attempting to convey that something has been pursuing him. Shortly after, Lewis bursts into the adjacent room, shouting in terror as an unseen force, the entity, slips into his mouth. An unsettling grin appears on Lewis's face as he takes a weight plate and strikes his face 3 times until the skin droops from his jaw. Skye throws up and nearly dials 911 until she remembers the consequences of being at a drug dealer's place. Skye keeps getting ready for her tour while attempting to forget the nightmare of what she witnessed. She participates in a meet and greet with her fans, but one specific fan, named Alfredo, gets overly aggressive during the photo, seizing Skye and saying she's beautiful and wants to take her skin before security intervenes and removes him. Skye pauses for a moment and continues the meet and greet, where a young girl offers her an unsettling smile. She receives an anonymous message from someone inquiring whether she was at Lewis's house. In her flashback, Skye believes she perceives a sound. She discovers a t-shirt that she had signed for Alfredo, then spots what appears to be his clothing, including his stained underwear, scattered on the floor. It seems that Alfredo is positioned at the end of the dim corridor unclothed before he pursues Skye. She rushes to the door and sees Gemma, whom she had previously contacted in an effort to make amends. Skye recounts the event involving Lewis, and Gemma consents to spend the night with Skye. As she attempts to sleep, Skye confides in Gemma regarding the darkness she has felt within even prior to the car accident, to which Gemma responds that it's due to her being a terrible person. Skye then observes the entity appearing as Gemma grinning at her before emitting a car honking sound. Skye gets up in the morning and sees Gemma preparing breakfast. Skye and her dancers are practicing for the tour when a vision of Paul suddenly appears to Skye, causing her to stumble. She furiously blames one of the dancers for disrupting her balance. Afterward, she heads to her room and discovers it in disarray, quickly blaming Jonathan and accusing him of the mess. But Elizabeth informs Skye that Joshua spent the entire day with her. Skye becomes aware of how she is beginning to look. Skye eventually attends a charity event at Darius's request, as he is the host, and she consents with some hesitation. While viewing the teleprompter, It seems to freeze, prompting her to ad-lib a short speech that ultimately turns into a tirade regarding her life and challenges. The teleprompter returns to its usual state until Skye is prompted to read Paul's name aloud, surprising the audience and causing her to notice Paul approaching her with a smile. Skye shouts at Paul to cease smiling before she returns to reality. As an elderly woman attempts to assist her, a bloodied Paul suddenly reappears, seizing Skye and prompting her to inadvertently shove the woman off the stage and onto a table, shocking everyone present. Skye runs off the stage. Returning to her home, Skye keeps receiving messages from the mysterious number. They claim they are aware that it's Skye and understand what she has been witnessing and going through. They also share with Skye a video that Lewis recorded on his phone in which he talked about encountering the entity. The individual requests Skye to join them at a communal venue. Skye goes undercover to a bar where she encounters Morris, the person who had been reaching out to her. He states that his brother fell prey to the entity as it forced him to rip his own jaw off with a crowbar. Morris observed the sequence of incidents involving other victims and was the individual who discovered Lewis's body, later obtaining Skye's number from his phone. Morris proposes that, being a nurse, he has the ability to halt Skye's heart to kill her and subsequently bring her back to life before the entity can eliminate her on its own. Skye dismisses this notion and angrily leaves as fans begin to identify and gather around her. Skye tries to unwind alone at home, but she notices the entity manifesting as her backup dancers, all smiling at her. They begin to pursue Skye throughout her apartment until they trap her and assault her, with one of them seemingly inserting their arm into her throat, causing her to lose consciousness. A memory reveals Skye with Paul during the night of the incident. Both were under the influence of cocaine as Paul drove, and he upset Skye by referring to her as a psycho. She took hold of the wheel and directed them away from the road, resulting in a terrible crash. Skye regains consciousness in a hospital to be assessed following her discovery, unconscious in her apartment. Elizabeth is next to her, but Skye inquires about the possibility of cancelling the tour since she isn't feeling well. Elizabeth believes that if she cancels this tour following the last one, it will mark the conclusion of her career, and the record label would sue them for millions. When Skye confides that it's all that matters to her, the entity manifests before Skye in the form of Elizabeth, causing her to hit the mirror in the room and repeatedly stab herself, even ripping her eye out. Skye rushes to the door, only to discover the shard in her grasp, with her gown stained in blood. She perceives what appears to be her mother's real lifeless body and starts to hesitate when Joshua attempts to enter. Skye attempts to flee until Joshua notices the blood on her. Medical staff and security attempt to assist Skye, but she takes a guard's firearm and escapes. In the streets, Skye encounters Gemma and, under threat of a gun, compels her driver to relinquish the car so she can search for Morris. Gemma insists on accompanying her, but during the journey, the true Gemma contacts Skye, revealing that it was the entity masquerading as Gemma in recent days. Skye gains control of the vehicle and successfully escapes unharmed. Skye encounters Morris at a deserted Pizza Hut to enter the freezer so she can avoid lasting brain injury. As the process starts, Morris exits the freezer, and the entity manifests as Skye on the eve of the accident. It assaults her, but she chomps off its thumbs and seizes a syringe intended to sedate her. Regrettably, this does not prevent the entity, and it confines Skye in the freezer. Shortly after, Skye discovers she is on stage for the opening performance of her tour. Elizabeth is alive and amidst the crowd with Joshua, Darius, and hundreds of fans. Skye watches as the entity rises from a shell of her own form, revealing its grotesque visage and massive body before it slithers into Skye's mouth. She falls before the fans but then gets up and grins. She then continues to hit her head with her microphone until it penetrates her eye, as her shocked fans can only observe. And showing this story ends here. Appreciate a subscribe, and please remember to like. Thanks for watching.